Is this the beginning of a crash out for Jamaica? This is the tactical analysis of the group stage game between Guatemala and Jamaica, where Jamaica lost 1-0. What did Jamaica do wrong? What did Guatemala do right? Let's find out. Wagwan sports fans, welcome back to this or that Sports TV, the place where you guys come to get the best, most interesting and everything sports topics, discussions and debates on the internet. Before we get into today's video, don't forget to like this one, leave a comment, subscribe to this or that Sports TV, and one more thing for me, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people. Get us 6 subscribers, because if each and every one of you guys can manage to do that, do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day? Yes, I'm Rush People, and I'm here to give you the tactical analysis of the Gold Cup group stage game between Jamaica and Guatemala. Unfortunately for me and for all the people watching this, I know a lot of Jamaican fans are watching this. Unfortunately for us, Jamaica lost 1-0. But I think the game all in all was not an awful game. I think the fans are overreacting to the game. I don't think it was a poor performance. I don't think it was a good performance, but I don't think it was a poor performance. There are some positives to be found in the game and a lot of negatives that I'm going to pick out in this game. I'm also going to do a match review. So this is a tactical analysis where I talk about all the intricacies that happened in the game, but I'm also going to do a review of the game and all the things surrounding the game. You get me? I see the perspectives and all that. You see me? So let's get right into it. So let's set the stage. So this is the first game for Jamaica and Guatemala. I mean, the 2025 Gold Cup. They're in a group with Guadeloupe and Panama. Only 2 teams will leave this group. So Jamaica needed to win this game if they want to keep their hopes of moving to the quarterfinals, and so did Guatemala. Right? So they came into the game after playing their World Cup qualifiers game last week, where Jamaica thrashed Guatemala 3-0. Guatemala rested a lot of players. Jamaica played some outstanding football, and I think even if Guatemala had their strongest team, Jamaica still would have beat them on the day, given how well Jamaica played that game. But let's move into the Gold Cup and what we're here to talk about. So let's get right into it. First thing I'm going to do is talk about the game and the players that were missing. So Jamaica also did not have their strongest squad in this game. I think people, if you watched the Gold Cup preview that I did for Jamaica, you would know that this game, when I saw the lineup for this game, I wasn't pleased, and I thought that Jamaica wouldn't have the greatest performance, because in that video I mentioned that one of the most important players for Jamaica, I mentioned 3 important players for Jamaica: Warner Brown, Cephas, and the third one was Isaac Hayden. Isaac Hayden wasn't there for this game. He wasn't even on the bench. He's having some issues. So I thought that Jamaica would struggle in the game, and so they did. So let's mention that we had Jamaica had 3 players out. Bobby Reid still coming back from injury. Mason Holgate picked up an injury in the World Cup qualifiers game, and Isaac Hayden, I think, is battling with some injuries. So those are the players that were missing. As far as the lineup goes, let's talk about that for a second. Jamaica went into the game with a 4-3-3 formation, people. And hopefully you can see my screen, because I'm going to share my screen and make sure you see me highlight the things that I really want to talk about. So Jamaica started with a 4-3-3. We started with Amari Bell at left back, Ethan Pinnock and Richard King as his 2 centre backs, Joel Latibo there as a right back. Then we started with a 3 in midfield, Damian Lowe as a single pivot with 2 midfielders in front of him, one being Demari Gray, and this is probably the lowest he was ever in the game, and John Russell. And the 3 up top was Ronaldo, Cephas, Warner Brown, and Leon Bailey. So Jamaica started this way. Guatemala on the other hand, you can't really see the formation here, but they were playing, majority of the game, they were playing a 4-2-3-1 with a double pivot. And so they approach the game slightly different than Jamaica approached the game. And even though Jamaica started with I would say a 1-2 in midfield, I think they were not playing the game of a 1-2. Where it's almost like the approach to the game was a bit defensive. But I'll get to that when I get to the approaches. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the stats in the game. So obviously we know that Jamaica lost the game 1-0. But as far as the statistics go, Jamaica had most of the possession, 54% possession to 46. Jamaica had 15 total shots to Guatemala's 11. Jamaica had 2 shots on target. Guatemala beat them in that era, having 4 shots. Jamaica created 1 big chance, so did Guatemala. 2 corners to 3. Passes complete. Jamaica had more passes complete than Guatemala, 368 to 311, and Jamaica had 123 attacks, almost double the amount of attacks that Guatemala had. And so I know these stats will kind of make people say, well, oh, Jamaica lose the game 1-0. Yes, people, it was that kind of game. Jamaica created a lot of chances, not clear-cut opportunities, but they created a lot of chances, a lot of half chances that they didn't manage to take advantage of. But me, I get into that in the review of the game. Now it's a tactical analysis. I have to keep reminding myself of that. So let's talk about for a sec the tactics and the approach that each team took to the game. I think Jamaica approached this game incorrectly. And the style of play was obviously started with a 4-3-3. I expected that Jamaica would have, utilized the inverted fullback that they did in the World Cup qualifiers game. Now, for the first 15 to 20 minutes of this game, Jamaica did not use an inverted fullback. It was a 4-3-3. Literally, that Joel Atibodier was playing right back. He was moving up the pitch, not overlapping, but moving up the pitch, up the right side, trying to get the ball to Liam Bailey, so on and so forth. And I think that kind of hurt Jamaica in a way, because it's almost like you open the game defensively and wanting to react to Guatemala's first punch instead of using an inverted fullback and creating opportunities for your team. So that is the style of play that Jamaica used, the 4-4-2 for the first 20 minutes of the game. Then after the first 20 minutes, I saw a lot about there coming inside, trying to do the inversion and all of that. Didn't quite work out. Jamaica tried to keep the ball, couldn't manage to keep the ball. A lot of misplaced passes, a lot of individual errors, and so couldn't manage to get out of first gear. Straight up and down. That is what happened. Jamaica was trying to do the same thing that they did in the Guatemala game for stints. It wasn't an entire performance of the inverted fullback. It was more of picking your spots, because they know that they were playing a better team, so they didn't want to give up all of the wing. Picking your spots. See where Jamaica have some momentum, then they can invert. See where we're under pressure in the midfield, go and put an extra body in the midfield. That is what Jamaica tried to do. Whereas I think we should have just, played our style of play instead of adjusting to them. Allow them to adjust to us. That is the style of play. In terms of Guatemala really came to hit us on the counter, but they realized that they could actually have more of the ball than they thought. These Central American teams, they are very technical and they can keep the ball. So for the first 30 minutes of the game, Jamaica couldn't put 5 passes together, and I think that presented an opportunity for Guatemala to take the ball and do whatever they want with it. So even though the statistics say that Jamaica had 54% possession, that was majority in the second half. In the first half, Guatemala had the ball, passing it around, trying to create their build-up, but they weren't breaking down Jamaica as well as they wanted to. All the opportunities that they got came from individual mistakes. So that was the approach. I think Guatemala wanted to hit Jamaica on the counter, applying that high press, trying to win the ball and hit Jamaica on the counter, whereas Jamaica was trying to use more of a possession and patience and composure to break down the Guatemala team, also hitting them with pace from the wide areas. But I'll get into why that did not work. That's as far as tactics and style of play go. Now let's talk about the 3 things that I think Jamaica did in this game that cost them to lose the game 1-0. The first thing is the midfield. The coach got the selection wrong, and he also did not adjust to the problems that Jamaica was having in this game. Now we started Damian Lowe, John Russell, and Demari Gray in the midfield. Now that's 2 non-midfielders in a midfield 3. That can't work, coach. That can't work in a no football team. That can't work in a no big competition, and that can't work against no decent team. No even a half decent team that cannot work against. So he started Damian Lowe and Demari Gray. Demari Gray is a winger, Damian Lowe is a centre back. They don't have the midfield know-how or the midfield awareness to even approach this game the right way. And so that caused a lot of disconnect for the team. That caused the team to struggle in the transition, moving the ball from defense to attack. Whenever the ball came to them, it was sideways and backs. Damian Lowe, though, I like the aggression. I'll talk about this in the review of the game, but I like the aggression that he had. Obviously a little bit overzealous and not using that IQ that I always praise him for. Picking up an early yellow and then just struggling to build into the game But as far as Demar Gray go, it did not work. He doesn't know how to pick up the spaces in between the players. He doesn't know how to receive the ball with his back turn to goal and turn. Demar Gray is just not a midfielder, people. And I did say this about the last game, that we're praising Demar Gray a little bit too much. He's a passenger whenever he plays in midfield. Matter of fact, for the past 6 months to a year, Demar Gray has been a passenger in this Jamaican team. He's not creating enough for the team, and he's not a threat at all. Nobody's scared of him. No shot is on target, and he's not creating any opportunities for his teammates. And so, as far as tactics go, Demar Gray should not be in this midfield, especially when Damian Lowe is in the midfield. And so, the midfield is the first thing that I'd say cost Jamaica the game. The second thing that I'd say cost Jamaica the game is individual mistakes. Too many individual mistakes. Joel Latibody here, too many misplaced passes. Damian Lowe, too many misplaced passes in the midfield. Dwelling on the ball a little bit too long, getting your pocket picked. Liam Bailey losing the ball and falling on the ground too much. But I'll get to Liam Bailey and why I can't kill him for this game. Demar Gray, too many misplaced passes. Ethan Pinnock, too many mistakes. Richard King, too many mistakes and misplaced passes. And ultimately, that is what cost Jamaica this game. Too many mistakes. The goal came from a mistake. The goal came from players being out of position. And that is ultimately why Jamaica lost this game 1-0. The third thing that I'd say cost Jamaica this game is the approach that Jamaica took to the game. I mentioned it earlier, and I would reiterate it again. Jamaica approaches the game as if Guatemala is somehow now on a level playing field with them because they made substitutions. Not starting with your inversion, not starting with utilizing an inverted fullback was a problem. I don't know if it was Joel Latibody not doing it for the first 20 minutes, or he didn't remember that it was a part of his role, playing the right back position, but he did not. Maybe it was an instruction from the coach to not invert, but he did not invert at all for the first 20 minutes. He did not go into the midfield. And so when he tried to do it in the latter parts of the first half, it just did quite work. Didn't have enough time to build it up. And so by the second half come, the whole team changed and everything changed. Approach the game like you're the favourites. You just beat this team 3-0. This team 3-0. Approach the game like you can beat them again. And I knew that this wasn't going to happen, and I knew that Jamaica is going to be inconsistent in the Gold Cup. No, people, it is well within the realm of possibility for us to come and play Panama and beat them and play some really, really good football, because that is what Jamaica does. We play inconsistent football, and so I expect Jamaica to play inconsistent football in this Gold Cup. Right? So those are the three things that I think cost Jamaica this game. The midfield, and coach poor selection in the midfield, and also the players not knowing how to play the positions well. Individual mistakes, the team just making too many mistakes and too many players having bad games. You can't have so many players having a bad game. And 3 was the approach that the team took to the game and the coach took to the game. Didn't like it. Now, let's talk for a bit. I'm going to put some screen grabs of the game and just talk about some of the things that I mentioned a while ago. The first thing I'm going to bring up is the midfield and why I think the midfield was the biggest problem. I'm just highlighting some things that went wrong in the midfield. So this is a screen grab of the game. This is where we were under some pressure in the right back area. Liam Bailey did well to hold up the ball, get away from his defender and pass the ball to Andre Blake. Now if you look, and this is just one screen grab of the whole game, people. Obviously I can't play video, so I just have to find an opportunity to present the evidence to them. The ball is right here at the keeper's feet. This is our centre back. Another centre back is here. Liam Bailey is also here. This is our right back. Where is our central midfielder that's supposed to be there? And if he's not there, where is our central midfielder that is supposed to be here to receive this pass from Andre Blake? And even, because sometimes people, it's not that you're going to get the ball, but football is a game of spaces. Football is who can take advantage of the spaces on the field the best, that usually wins the game. This is a massive field and you have 22 players on it. Use the space well. So of course this would be a dangerous play, and some people would say Russia, you don't want Damian Lowe to get the ball right there. So I agree, I don't want Damian Lowe to get the ball right there. But what would happen if had Damian Lowe been there? One of these players would have had to mark Damian Lowe right there. Either this player would come across and mark Damian Lowe there, or this player would come right here and mark Damian Lowe right there, or this player would have to move inside and mark Damian Lowe right there. You understand? Or this player would have to move in and mark Damian Lowe right there. But people, this is what happened. Had Damian Lowe been there, it would have opened up some space for Ethan Pinnock to get the ball right there. This is what I'm talking about. This is not necessarily a possession that hurt us. Matter of fact, it did hurt us. They did get a shot from this. Because Andre Blake played a long ball out here to Warner Brown. It did not work. They won the ball and they actually scored the offside goal from this. Because we did not have a midfield option right here to pick up the ball. And that is what I'm talking about. Damian Lowe does not know how to play the position well. And so although Damian Lowe can play the midfield in some off games, it is not wise to use him as a midfielder long term. It is not wise. You understand? Now, let's move on to the next thing, and this will also, you know, would also highlight a similar thing, but analyzing the goal and how the goal happened. You know, because it came from a similar thing. You know, the game happened because midfielders were out of possession. I mean, I'm not even talk about transitioning the ball to attack yet. I talk about just playing the defensive midfield position well. Or a central midfielder supporting a defensive midfielder well. Now, this is where the goal scored. This is where the actual goal scored, people. So, pay attention, you see me? And if I miss nothing, just make sure, tell me in the comment section. Tell me if you like videos like these. We can talk, we can have conversations about it. I don't know everything, but it's just the perspective that I watch the game from and what, caused Jamaica to lose the game. That's just where I come from with it. Tactical analysis, you see me? Seeing the effects of the movements of the players and the pitch, the passes and the intricacies of it. So, the ball was lost here. This is Damian Lowe. The ball was lost. It was played to this player. Right? But if you look, I'm not even highlighting what Guatemala did. Because alright, attack was made, they won the ball. That is fine. And even if they had the ball, so what? Just look at our midfielder's position again. This is Damian Lowe. This is our CDM. This is our attacking midfielder. I don't mind Demar Gray's position right here. But this is Jonathan Russell's position, people. This is our central midfielder. This is supposed to be our box-to-box midfielder. And he's ahead of our attacking midfielder. You understand? And so, I would have preferred if he was somewhere around here. Or if Demar Gray was here, if he was here. You understand? Supporting Damian Lowe. But he was not. And so, what happened from that is that the ball was lost. The Guatemalan team got it, and so we were in chasing mood. There are two players ahead of John Rusty. You have to be aware enough to know that you can't be so far. One, you can't be so far from your central defensive midfielder, and also you can't be so far from the next opponent. Obviously, we had the ball, but we were transitioning to the attack. And so you were just not in the prime position, because while you have the ball now, them say the best defense is attack. And so you have to position yourself in a way, especially, and that is why the midfield position is so hard, people. It is so hard. I've dabbled there, and so I know what I'm talking about. Obviously, not at any high level, but I've dabbled there. The midfield position is so hard because you have to be thinking about everything that is going on. You don't get a break. While attackers may get a break when the team has the ball in our box and the defenders are at work. While defenders might get a break when the ball is up top with the attackers that are trying to score goals, the midfield doesn't get a break because you have to support the attackers and you have to support the defense. Now, you have to always know, even though we have the ball, where is my best position to receive this ball, but also where is the best position that I can take up that allows me to, if Jamaica lose the ball, I can recover well. You have to know that as a midfielder. And so this is one of the positions that Jonathan Russell took up where it just didn't afford Jamaica to be in a position to lose the ball. And we did lose the ball and we did concede from this play right here, this passenger play right here. Now, let's move to the next screen. Let's move to the next screen. Here we go. So, they won the ball, picked it up on the right side. If you look, again, where is John Russell, people? Just look, where is John Russell? And people may not necessarily single out John Russell. He was obviously tired. They get me as a John Russell bus from the 38 minutes. Me I tell you the truth. Because he was doing so much work. Damian Lowe was always out of position. Demar Gray na defend and same affair defend for at least two of them. You see me? So if you look, people, Richard King alright tracking his man, but Richard King does see a man there behind him. Richard King does see this player right here. Even though he should. But this is John Russell's player. And that is how far John Russell people, this is a transition in the game, I understand. This is him running back, I understand. Again, it was a transition from attack to defense. So you're not going to be in the perfect position, I get that. But you have to position yourself a little bit better than this. And so he was so far from his man. So far. And so this ball was played over the back line into this space. Once the ball was played, Ethan Pinnock tried to get a head on the ball, basically missed the ball. The ball ricocheted off his head, fell to the feet of Richard King, who I can't blame too much because all he had time to do was stick his foot out and just stop the ball, not allowing it to get in behind. You understand? And we can bring up that play there actually. Let's bring that up. The ball was played in behind and fell to the feet of Richard King right there. Not much Richard King could do at that point, more than stop the ball. And so, unfortunately for Richard King, the ball fell to one of the Guatemalans and it resulted in a goal. You see me? But we have to do better. Actually, I'm not even going to say the ball fell to one of the Guatemalans. The ball fell to the player that was supposed to be tracked by John Russell. You get me? That's exactly what I'm going. Look, John Russell stop run at this point. And so there's a free player on the edge of our box. People, this is a screen job, so it's not replicating the game as well. But this is what happened. This is what happened. And so I am not pleased with the midfield more than anything else. The midfield. Damian Lowe, Jonathan Russell, Demar Gray is just not a good midfield. And for the review of the game, I'm going to talk about the coach. I know he is to be blamed for this because he left himself light in that midfield position. And same affair to make shifting. You see me? And again, people, I'm not going to say it's the worst performance ever. But the midfield just cost us this game in more ways than one. Going forward, they could not transition the ball. Defensively, they could not protect the team. You see me? So, let's get to the next thing. I kind of like this, people. Tell me if you don't like that vibe. Tell me if you don't like we're going over some things and finding out some tactics and see what I go and see where the team made the mistake, see what cost we. Oh, the spaces, never get taken up by the Jamaica. Yeah, more on talk about all of that. So, people, tell me if you like this video. Next thing I'm going to talk about is going forward now, because that is defensively. The midfield was just out of whack defensively. I just saw that go. Next thing to talk about now is going forward. So, attack, right? And I had mentioned in the Gold Cup preview for Jamaica that there are very few, not the Gold Cup preview, the video that I did about McLaren that a lot of you watch. Thank you for the support on that video, by the way. By the way, if you love Jamaican football, hit the like button right now. If you love Jamaican football, hit the subscribe button. That me I talk about. If you love football, hit the like button right now. Hit the subscribe button right now. And leave a comment and say you know where I talk about. Next thing now, I had mentioned in the McLaren Masterclass video that there are very few games that Liam Bailey plays for Jamaica where he's not being double teamed. Very few games, and one of those games was the Guatemala game that we played in the World Cup qualifiers. He was not being double teamed. Every game Liam Bailey play for Jamaica, he is being double teamed, people. Especially when we play a weak midfield like this, and people don't understand why he's getting double team and where does the double team come from. 11 players on the pitch. How come them can put 2 or 3 on Liam Bailey? They can put 2 or 3 on Liam Bailey because the coach doesn't give the team schemes and strategies to have multiple threats. So the team knows that our threats are going to be out wide. It's going to be Ronaldo Cephas, it's going to be Liam Bailey. So guess what they do? Every time Liam Bailey gets that ball, there's a player ahead of him, there's a player right at his feet, and there's a player behind him. So it's almost like you can't go forward, you can't go cross, or you can't go backwards. And so the best thing to do, because the more you go backwards, they will allow you to make that backward pass, but you will not go forward. And so how many times did you see Liam Bailey get down the wing? Last night. How many times did you see Liam Bailey put a cross into the box? Because they are double teaming him. And people now see that and guess what they're going to do? Kill Liam Bailey and say, no, I'm not play a good game for Jamaica, blah, 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 but not seeing why. When you have a midfield where you can, because Guatemala, the truth is, people have to understand, say, as I said earlier, it's a game of spaces. So you're going to take up space and you're going to give up space. What Guatemala did is say, alright, we're going to throw 2 or 3 players at Liam Bailey every given time. But understand, say that I'm going to give up some space, but where do we want to give up the space? If you see, the space is not being given up to Warner Brown ahead. Let me get from me highlighter so I can make sure I know where I'm going. The space is not given up to Warner Brown right here ahead. I don't like you black people. I don't like you black. I like you yellow. So if we get back yellow. The space is not given up to Warner Brown right here. The space is not given up to Demar Gray right here. Obviously, Ronaldo Cephas is out here. He's out of the shot, but that's where he is. Where is the space being given up? The space is given up to or midfielders. They know that the midfielders can't hurt us. They know that there's no threat there. Let's sacrifice one of the midfielders. So here, what we are playing 4-2-3-1. You see, every time the ball come out to Liam Bailey, one of our central, make sure on the damn foot. You see, when the ball come out to Ronaldo Cephas, the other central, make sure you're out there a Cephas foot. And so that is why Jamaica couldn't transition the ball well. That is why Jamaica couldn't manage to get Cephas and Liam Bailey into the game. And even though they struggled to do that, still managed to create some opportunities. And that is why, and I'm going to get to the end of the video where I say this is not the worst game ever. Because I'm looking at the tactics side of it where Jamaica played such a bad game, but still managed to be in the game and still be competitive when Guatemala was playing some of their best football. You see me? So, again, people, going forward, we have to present a threat from the midfield. We have to have a goal threat from the midfield. We have to have a technical threat from the midfield, knowing that when them pass the ball is going to stick and the ball is going to make its way to an attacker. We have to know that. But they know that if the ball get past Latibody, where am I going to do? Turn it back. They know, say, if the ball get past to Damian Lowe, there's a 50-50 chance if you get it under control or boom and 5 foot. They know that, so they can sacrifice a player out of the midfield and double team Liam Bailey. This is usually what happens, and if they're not sacrificing a midfielder, they're sacrificing a defender coming over to help, because they know that we do have a threat in the box. We do have a big goal threat in the box. They know that, and it's the same thing that happened on the next side for Ronaldo Cephas, sacrificing a midfielder to double team him. Straight up, people. If Warner Brown was hot, or had Warner Brown score a goal, it would free up one of the wingers, because they would have to pay more attention to Warner Brown. If John Russell had been doing his late runs like we saw for the last 3 games, it would free up a Liam Bailey, it would free up a Ronaldo Cephas. But he couldn't do that because the midfield was just always out of position. This was not a cohesive unit. And so because Damian Lowe is out of position, that places John Russell out of position, that places Demargre out of position. Demargre done now run back already. So he just hide behind the player them. He now look for the ball. You understand? So Liam Bailey getting double team, Ronaldo Cephas getting double team every time, and that was the approach that Guatemala took. We are going to double team their wingers, we are going to high press them, win the ball, and hit them in the box. That's what they tried, and fortunately for them, it worked out. You see me, people? So that is as far as the screenshots go. That is as far as the tactical side of things. Just remember that things that we went over, people. First, we went over the midfield, and just the midfield having too much space in it. Damian Lowe being too far forward as the defensive midfielder. You know, people, we watch a lot of football. We watch a lot of international football. We watch a lot of club football. We know that there's a point in the game where the centre back is supposed to drop, the central midfielder is supposed to drop in between the two centre backs and play the ball out and block. We don't see Damian Lowe do that all now, because he's always ahead, waiting for someone else to transition the ball, not realizing that it is the role of the central defensive midfielder and the central midfielder to transition the ball up the pitch, waiting on someone else to do it. And we can't kill Damian Lowe too much because he never pick himself. He's a defender and trying to do a job for us. I'm going to talk about the overzealousness. I'm going to talk about the misplaced passes in the next video, which is the review of the game. But all in all, people, this is where the tactical analysis took place. This is That Sports TV. I'm not enjoy it out, people. If you like the video, make sure you leave a comment and subscribe to this That Sports TV. 30 minutes? What? Anyways, make sure you like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to this That Sports TV. But one more thing for me, and that's to share the video to at least 10 people. Get us 6 subscribers. Each one of you guys can manage to do that. Do you know how many subscribers that would get us by the end of the day, people? But for now, this was That Sports TV. It has been Rush. I gone.